Hey y'all, have you ever met somebody, started talking to them, and realized, wow, we speak the same language, we're talking about the same things in a very similar manner from pretty different contexts, but awesome. Like we're on the same page. This is good stuff. Well, in all honesty, this is the case with today's guest. His name is Jason E. Brooks. He's doing a bunch of public speaking and talking on panels. He's a consultant. He's a coach. He's an author of a book called "Every Leader Needs Followers." Um, great conversation. We had a good time, and I think he really brought a lot of amazing insight to what it takes to run restaurants from a very people-centric space. So, without further ado, let's get it on. I think you're going to love this one. You're listening to the Culinary Mechanic Podcast. I'm your host, Simon Zaturk, the founder of Culinary Mechanic, a restaurant advisory firm focused on making kitchens and restaurants run like well-oiled machines. This podcast, we aim to bring you insights, strategies, tools, and tactics, and sometimes just good old advice and stories that are going to help you run your restaurant better. I hope you dig it, because honestly, it's a real labor of love. One thing you could do that would help me a whole lot is to go anywhere that you listen to podcasts and leave a 5-star review. That'll help get the word out so that more people will hear this podcast, and hopefully we can help more restaurants run just a little better. Now please, enjoy the show. Today I am joined by Jason E. Brooks. He is the author of I've forgotten the name of your book, Jason.
Every leader needs followers.
There you go.
It's right here too. Ding, 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 ding.
There we go. Awesome. I love the name of the company, Hospivation LLC. It's dope. Jason, you are a speaker, an author, a coach, and a consultant. Man, I'm tired already. That's awesome. Welcome.
So am I every morning at 7 a.m. Tired already.
Tired. I like it. Well, man, welcome. Thank you for coming and playing with me. This is my own little sandbox of the world where we get to talk about things that are hospitality driven. I love to talk about just about anything that has to do with taking care of people, feeding them, grooming people so that they are ready to do that better. All those things. Let's just get down to it. How'd you get into this industry? How'd you find yourself in the hospitality realm?
Tripped and stumbled, like most of us do, and typically it's through the side door. I actually first job was in Fayetteville, North Carolina, washing dishes, and it was at a mom and pop seafood restaurant. Now, I chose the restaurant business. What most people don't know, this is going to come as a surprise to you because of the three things that you said that I am. As a coach, author, and speaker, you wouldn't think that some people talk about their superpower. I'll talk about what my super weakness was. My super weakness was that I stuttered as a kid. As a kid, I was in elementary school. I could not finish a sentence. My parents put me in special breathing classes, special talking classes. I got all the nicknames, talked about all that good stuff. It was crazy. So when I chose my first job, even at the age of 15, I wanted to do something that I could put my head down and just do my job, washing dishes. That was it. But me not knowing the hospitality industry is that eventually you have to start speaking to people. You have to start speaking to your team. You have to start calling back commands. You have to start calling back orders. You actually then start leading a team yourself on a shift. So I eventually had to still find my voice. Now, yes, we can go through the Batman origin story and say, but how do you go from, fearing speaking a sentence to getting on stage and speaking to hundreds or thousands of people or on a podcast and doing it off the cuff and just speaking about what you know. It took a while to get there. But what I knew, though, which was kind of one of my superpowers, was writing. I knew that I could write what the hell that I wanted to say, even as a young age. I would write things like it wasn't anything. But that's because that's what I leaned into. But getting into this business, my very first role was washing dishes. Again, I knew head down, do my job, but then I understood what made a kitchen run. And it was that teamwork. It was the calling back. And then as you get into managing and leading, you begin to speak with other people's words. Because whenever you and I work with a team, we're hearing the ideas bouncing off the hoods, bouncing off the dining room tables
Yeah.
of all of the things that people say, we should be and we could be, and what if we. And when you start really managing and leading, and you start to have to use their voice as well. So I had to find my voice. Eventually, I got into Toastmasters to learn how to speak well, because I wanted to speak with impact. I wanted to make sure that what I said came across the way that I wanted it to come across. Then down the line, I got into understanding what the business of speaking was, and then eventually got to here today. But I'm a restaurant lifer. I've been in the hospitality business for 30 plus years. I work for 6 of the top 100 restaurant brands. I work for 20 different restaurant companies, brands, mom and pops. And that's had me see the Mona Lisa painted 20 different ways. So that's part of my origin story there. I know that that was a lot right there, but that's how
Oh,
we're going to
that's
start off.
perfect, man. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Because that's what this is, right? Like
Mhm,
for me personally, like restaurant stories are the best. Like,
mhm,
they sometimes they end on a bar stool, sometimes they don't, but
mhm,
like just finding out the community, the people aspects of how we take care of each other leading into how we take care of our guests. Those things are gold. So I love that. I can honestly see a young man like finding the confidence to call something back when speaking is not a comfortable thing. I mean, I think that's great because I think it takes, I think there's something like neuroscience in there, but honestly, for me, it's not about, at some point for you, it's not about you, it's doing the thing. And that is empowering and that builds confidence. And I mean, there's a lot to be said about this industry building people, right? Like I have long felt that, if you took great restaurant operators, you could take them and have them be consultants in anything, right? I have this dream of creating a consultancy that like goes into small government and it's all restaurant people
mm.
because we get shit done.
Just
Are you feeling overwhelmed by the grind of running your kitchen? Imagine, kitchen's humming along, people are on task, and you have the time to be creative and still make it home to see your family. Well, Culinary Mechanic is here with the strategies, tools, and tactics to help you be the leader everybody wants to work with. If you'd like to find out more about how Culinary Mechanic can help you run your restaurant like a well-oiled machine, I invite you to use the link in the show notes to book a 30-minute free consultation call. We get
think
shit
about what
done.
we do. Think about what we do. We take a 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, boy or girl, right before they're truly a man or woman, and we put them in a business that's doing $1 million in sales with the slimmest margins in a stressful environment with swinging temperatures and people that are moving quick as shit. And we're teaching them how to be profitable. We're teaching them how to run a business with all this noise clanging all around you, and to come in and do it for a lot of hours and come in the next day and do the same damn thing, not knowing what's going to happen. How many businesses, and I'm not talking about tech businesses to where the ROI is like 60%, 70%. I'm talking about 5%, 15% margins, and you're teaching an 18-year-old kid to manage other people with $1 million a year and do it and get beat up while doing this and come back the next day and do it again. How many industries teach something like that?
And like I said before we started recording, brother, you talk my language. It is the same. I love it. I think that I know that I grew up in this industry. I was 16 when I started. I am definitely not 16 anymore. And I look around, and I think that we could probably like devote 2 hours to this next piece, but instead we'll just kind of graze over the top, and that is like times are changing, right? But hell, they've changed. Like I was in a restaurant.
It's not even
recently.
changing. It's changed. Yes.
It's changed. Right. I was in a restaurant recently and I heard a youngster say something and I thought, in my day, they would have just been like handed, like, get out. But all they were doing was speaking kind of about how the communication didn't feel great to them, was really what they were voicing. And I think that it's, now it's like, man, the bar is higher for communication. The bar is higher. Like if you want this next generation to perform, you gotta be better. You gotta be better than they were. I mean, I started cooking in restaurants in 1989. That was a lot of years in there where, what is now like toxic communication was just communication.
Was just normal everyday communication. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The actual soft skill during that time frame wasn't even a word. I don't think that it was even invented at that time. It wasn't something that was thought through. You're right that now, which is how I've got to where I am now. Now I focus on how to define managing, leading, and coaching. Some people think of those three things as almost the same thing, but it's not. It's three very distinct things, and I'm not just speaking about it in business. How is it different in what we do in hospitality? Now, I always say managing, okay? Managing is taking our group of people, keeping them in the guardrails to help them get to a certain point by a certain time within a certain budget. We are in a managing mindset for most of our day because our restaurant is a business first. It's a business that has people, that serves foods or makes drinks. It's a business first. Why? Because we don't do this to break even. We can't do this to break even, or else we won't provide any opportunity for anyone tomorrow, nor will we have time to reinvest to help grow. So it is a business first. There's nothing wrong with managing. Has there been bad managers? Yes, but you have to have a managing mindset. Then you have a leadership mindset. But what is that? A leadership mindset is understanding the overarching industry, is knowing the competition, is knowing what's going on around you. It's when you get to that point and there's a problem that no one understands what the next step should be or could be, you're able to paint the picture so vividly, they jump on the damn plane because they understand where the vacation spot is, and they will help you build that damn plane while it's being built because you can paint that picture vividly. You understand all of the things. That is that leadership mindset. Two different things, managing and leading. Now, the coaching mindset is what we did not lean on that much, even to this day. But it's crazy because it's the thing that we need most to buy back our time, to buy back our sanity. The reason why coaching is needed. Don't you hate it whenever you used to get that call at 2 a.m. like, we're out of paper towels? You're like, what the fuck, yo? You're calling me at 2 a.m. about paper towels. But let me talk through why. The why of even some of our listeners are like, why do people keep just agonizing me with crazy shit? The reason why is because they think that you don't know them. I'm gonna repeat that. They think you don't know them. So they now question everything before they do it because you haven't taken the time to get to know the people that's on your team. Coaching is the mastery of one-on-ones and small groups. It's creating the space to get to know the individual on your team, what they like, what they dislike, if they like anime, their wife, their kids, their anniversaries, where they like to vacation at. And it's also getting to know where they are within their professional self, what their goals are, and how you can get them to reach those goals. One-on-ones isn't another time for data dumping. One-on-ones is taking the time for you to only speak 30% of the time. They speak 70% of the time. It's you getting to know them. The more that we create the environment and the time to get to know them, now, whenever they're in that situation that they have to make a decision, they're going to be like, I'm going to make one. Why? Because Simon knows me. I'm going to make one. Why? Because Jason knows me. He knows what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to make the choice. I'm going to do it. And I know next week at the same time, on the same day that we always have our one-on-one, I can bring any problem then. But if you don't create that time that they can bring those or create the time to get to know them, you will find you have less time now. So never say, listeners, never say, I don't have time to do one-on-ones, because you will actually make more time and create more sanity the more you can do them.
You know, you just like rung a bell where my mother's voice is in the back of my head. And I remember as a kid, I would be in that situation, right? Where I'd be like, hey, mom, what? And she's like, no, 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 no. I've taught you to make good decisions. Now, think it through. And so I learned as a young person and as a young manager and as an older manager, like, what do I need to do here? I need to help them understand the why of a decision, the process that we go through to make that decision, right? But it's like, you're absolutely right. You got to get to know that person that's working with you, and it's a mutual trust in the idea of you have the ability to make the right decision. And here's the framework I want you to use so that if you're out of toilet paper at 2 a.m., here's the button you press, and it's not my number.
It's nowhere on the page. It's not even 20th. That's not even an option, because that's not a decision you would need to make. Yes, correct.
No, because yes, I know you and I trust you enough that you're going to make a good decision. And if you don't make a decision, hey, that's what learning is. Cool. Awesome. Like I tell
That's it.
people all the time, trust yourself enough to fuck it up and let's learn tomorrow.
But
Like,
but
that's
but
it.
they won't know that unless we make that time for them. That's why, one-on-one, and the coaching aspect isn't just one-on-ones. It is a large part, but the coaching aspect, again, is that's where I am now. That's where I speak to now. And what I'm trying to get into our industry more is understanding the three aspects of it. Everyone doesn't want to be a manager. I get it. But we use this type of thinking even in our personal life. Do you know how many times we coach our kids? Do you know how much our kids get coached? If your kids play sports, they probably get coached 3/4 of the year. They can be coached by people for 3/4. Your kid isn't bringing a dime home unless they're a child actor, but they aren't bringing a dime home yet. Still, they get coached for 3/4 of the year. But us, that's actually bringing food to the table, keeping lights on. We're like, oh man, I don't need coaching. I'm just going to do it. No, we actually even use coaching at home. Think about how we teach our kids what we do.
Mhm.
We talk through it. We then show them. We then quiz them. We then watch them as they do it to make sure that they understand and that they talk it back to us. And then we go back to step one. We do it even at home, but we don't even realize that we are managing our home, we're leading through our family, and then we're coaching as needed.
Coaching. Yeah.
But how do we define those three things, even if we don't want to be a manager and know what those things are so we can be the more successful within our industry?
All right. We have like covered a ton of ground in a couple
Yeah,
of
sorry
minutes
about
here.
that.
No, I can't.
We were
I
supposed to
love
take
it.
it
I
slow.
love
We're
it.
supposed to take it slow.
No, there's not. There's no should. It's just do. But I think it's be really good for our listeners, our watchers, to understand. You go through. You start as a dishwasher. There's a stutter in your youth. You gain some confidence. You learn to manage. You learn to lead. Eventually, you learn to coach. Your resume is dope, by the way, right? Like I went through your LinkedIn profile and I was like, man, this guy's done some cool stuff. And the number of companies that you work for, it's amazing. So how does all of that come around to I'm now an author, a speaker, a coach, and a consultant? Like, what was I don't know, maybe there's a catalyst, maybe there's I don't know, what happened? For lack of a better question.
I think that working for that many companies, there were a few things going on in my mind as well as in the mind of most people, and we don't realize it. A lot of times when I bounced from place to place, it's because I thought someone was trying to change me. I thought that, this old guy or this old lady, they're trying to change me into who they are. That's not what I want. I'm Jason Brooks. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be my authentic self. That word wasn't around back then, but I'm saying it now. I'm going to be my authentic self. But actually, what they were doing was they were trying to teach me a system of being successful in a specific role. Okay. Trying to teach me a system of being successful within a specific role. And when I got to a point of finally wisdom kicking in, is when I said, if I would have known a book of systems for me to be successful within my role in the industry, that would have made this so much damn easier. I wouldn't have been bouncing from place to place. So that's where the essence of making this book came. This book that I actually wrote, Every Leader Needs Followers, 10 Keys to Transform Restaurant Managers to Hospitality Leaders. It isn't a memoir about Jason Brooks. It is not. It's 10 keys that you can choose which key of what you're going through within that moment and dive right into it and get actionable steps that helps you to be more systematic within your approach of this item. And it's a quick read. Each key within the book, each key, some books have chapters, mine has keys. Each key has 3 sections. First section is the main course, unintended. It's the breakdown of that topic, and it's still written in a short read. But even if you don't have that much time, the next section of the key is called the takeaway. And the takeaway is 5 to 7 paragraphs of that key. A very quick read that if you haven't read the key yet, you can read just the takeaway and say, yes, I'm going to get into that bad boy. Or if you read it in the past and need just an overview, the takeaway breaks it down to you in 5 to 7 paragraphs. Then the last section of every key is called the angle. The angle goes back to my past of the voices of the people that I worked with that helped me become who I was. So I actually reached out to hospitality leaders and asked them, hey, this is the topic. I need your angle on this topic. So the angle, it's a section for every single key, and it's words of wisdom about that topic from different people within the industry. And that's the reason why I wrote this book. I wanted a systematic approach to the things that can help us be more successful within these specific roles.
I love it. So you wrote it. I mean, I love this podcasting aspect, but the idea of speaking on stage is For me, kind of, it's in the future, right? Like I
Mhm.
love talking to people. I love helping. I love seeing people's eyes light up when you find that moment of, oh, we're on the
Aha.
same space, the aha, like. And I've gotten the opportunity to talk to small groups. I talked to a group of culinary students recently, via Zoom, and just like they'd ask a question and I'd give them an answer, and they'd be like, "Oh, I didn't expect that, but that was cool." And they're like, you
Mhm.
see the eyes light up. So, I mean, I'd love to hear about kind of some of your experiences with getting to talk to groups, because I think it's bloody phenomenal, like to be able to influence people on a slightly larger scale. I mean, tell me about
Think
that.
about your average huddle. Think about your average alley rally. We probably within our industry are one of the industries where we aren't the only, are one of the industries that we're able to do a mini presentation multiple times per day. We're able to take the stage multiple times per day. That's part of the reason why I didn't mind. Well, one, I had to get over my fear, one, and two, I knew that what I was stating, that I've done it so many times on conference calls, on readouts, when we're having to read out to a big conference call about your business and all of that stuff, and we get the peacock and all that stuff about our stuff. But our alley rallies are a part of what builds some of that base. But the business aspect of public speaking, it is something else. One, we can't just go up and talk about anything similar to uh, doing a alley rally. You can't just talk about anything. You have to find the words and be very specific and get in and get out about the most impactful things that the people who are listening need. And even when you're public speaking, you have two audiences. This is for anyone who's thinking about public speaking. You have two audiences, okay? First audience is the one who's going to hire you, the one who actually writes the check. That audience is saying, is this person speaking about something that is actually solving a problem that I want my people to learn? And two, the other audience is the ones that are actually in the audience. And that audience is the people that are truly focused on listening to your every word and the actual takeaways. So when you think about the business aspect, you're packaging what you're doing. I hate to say it is a business first. Yes, we do what we do because we love the aha moments, but you have to know how to package it for both audiences and it to be relevant, it to be actionable, and it to be specific. A few more things. Most people want to talk about anything and everything, and they think that they can talk about anything and everything. But one of the key foundations is to being a public speaker, and everyone can write this one down. What problem do you solve? If you're just talking about anything, but it's not a problem that people have, you won't get booked that much. You won't get people who want to listen, not even getting booked. You won't get people who want to listen. You need to be solving a problem. The actual TikToks and Instagrams and the ones that actually get the most views besides funny or violent are things that solve someone's problem. It's truly things that solves someone's problem. So that is the thing that we have to do first is solve a problem.
I like it. Um, I can see why you get to speak, because like I'm in whatever you say. Like, you start reading the phone book, I'll listen. I will. You know.
Plus a dope microphone. That's a plus you have to have a dope microphone. If your mic sucks, it's not going to work.
No. And then there's that. Yeah. Well, gosh. I love how we have just run the gamut. Um, one of the things I've been talking with people about is the concept of like winning your day. So, what for you constitutes winning the day? Like,
Mm.
how do you do it? Like,
What at the end of the day makes you go, yes, I did it.
Wow. What makes me go, yes. I'm a semi cheat on this one. It goes back to what you said, and it's the aha moment. That aha moment in what we do is so crucial. And we can think about this in any industry. When we can, at the end of the day, someone says, I never thought about it like that. Whenever we're able to change someone's perspective on not finding vibranium out in Wakanda. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that people think about on a daily basis. And we come in and we say those words and they never thought of it in that aspect. That's when I have won the day. Like, for example, culture. This coming up in September, end of September, I'll be leading the panel on culture at the QSR Evolution in Atlanta.
Nice.
And the panel is scaling culture, and we talk about culture all of the time. It doesn't matter whether it's Tesla, Ford, IBM, Apple. Culture in Red Robin, everyone talks about culture. And the thing is, though, whenever we say it, we kind of don't know what it is. And there's these 7 words that someone that you and I both know, that when they said it, it really breaks down what culture is. And that person is Chip Close. Okay. Chip Close said, Jason, culture is, the definition is, people like us do things like this. 7 words. People like us do things like this.
Like
On
this.
on, on Sundays before it hits the fan, people like us do things like this. For our inventory, people like us do things like this. Whenever we cook ribs, people like us do things like this. That is the true definition, even down to the caveman aspect. People like us do things like this. And that's one of those ahas that's like, damn, that's basically a good short definition of what culture is. But whenever we can do that, whether it's a sauce, a saying, or anything in our lives, the aha moment is when I feel like I have won the day.
Man, that's why I asked this question right there. Because it's something that I started to obsess about recently, right?
Mhm.
Like I think that for some people, winning your day is getting. I mean, for me now, winning my day has become finishing when I say I'm going to finish. Like
Mm.
that is a win, right? Because I spent 20 something years married with a wife just jabbing me in the kidneys, going, it'd be nice if you were home for dinner once in a while. Right? So now in my 50s, winning the day is, oh, I'm going to
You're right,
finish at
though.
6. I finish at 6.
You're right, though. I mean,
Right?
time these days is our biggest, even when we think about what we do for business, when we look at food costs or labor or sales or whatever, it's time. Our biggest enemy in life is time. And the more we can
Oh,
figure out how to get the things done that we want to get done, focus on what's truly important. So I can absolutely see that winning the day is getting it done. I say that I'm gonna get it done because that means you have won back your time.
I'm gonna throw this back at you because this is a good volley, right? You said time is our enemy. I view time as my commodity.
Mm.
And what do you do with a commodity? You sometimes you hoard it, right? Sometimes you leverage against it, right? Like time is the commodity. That's the thing that like I'm trying to like get more time. I'm trying to like grab more
Mhm.
time. So I view it as that is the thing, right? Like somebody I absolutely love and respect. We were having an argument about something, and he just stopped and he looked me steely in the eye, and he goes,
What is the value of 1 hour of your time?
Mhm.
And if you're an hourly employee, then that's assigned to you, right? That's
Yep.
18, $20.
It's
If you're
very
on
finite.
salary,
Yes.
then it gets a little more nebulous.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
at some point in your life, you got to decide, right? I think for this person was a business owner, and he had a stack of restaurants, and he goes, every time that I can have an hour free, I can make a decision that can affect 100 people, and those 100 people's jobs are to help make me money. He goes, so my hour of time has got lots of zeros on it. He goes, so time is my commodity. And that he shifted me that was about 10 years ago. And ever since then, I'm like, no, time is the thing I'm solving for, right? I'm trying to get more. I'm trying to get it back. I think that's why, like, you talk about like people who hire the housekeeper, right? Or hire the person to do the lawn, right? That gets me an hour back. That's a great investment. Or it's the virtual assistant or whatever it is. But I think that at some point you can definitely, like, you got to view that thing as something to revel in, is the time.
No, you are spot on that looking at it negatively, like our worst enemy probably wasn't the best example, but you're spot on of the commodity. And that's why some people don't understand, well, why does Jason have someone cut his grass? And I'm like, because the time is my best commodity. I actually could be
Uh-huh.
doing something else that's a lot more valuable during that time. I would love to today cut my grass twice a week. Not in this heat, not right now, but I would love
Not in
to.
this heat.
Not in this heat, no sir. So yes, you are absolutely right, and it's all of what are we going to do with that, and that's why that one book, Who, Not How, is
It's a good
is
one.
definitely gives you a different perspective as to how we figure out problems. It's who we have to help us figure out that problem, to help us full time. Think about what you do as the culinary mechanic. You help people fold time. They don't want to have to go through the whole space of making all the mistakes. You help them fold time as a commodity in order for them to get to where they actually want to go.
No. Man, we're getting deep now, boy.
Got to
It's
come up
good.
for some air.
It's great. Listen, Jason, thank you so much for coming to play in my sandbox.
My pleasure.
This is the number one reason why I started this podcast, is for the conversations, for the deep thoughts, for the ability to take two people who are saying something very similar and kind of bounce it back and forth. I love it. It makes me very, very happy. So thank you very much. Um, in the show notes, I'm gonna make sure that every possible way to find Jason is gonna be down in there. We're gonna get you we might even put the link to your book, because you gotta have that book, man. I think there's a lot of people out there that can benefit from having a reference. That I love the fact that you've got it so that each key stands on its own. That means a lot to me. Ooh, the other thing I wanted to
Folding
say to you
time.
was,
Folding time.
I have heard a lot of ways to describe like a 2-minute meeting or a pre-shift meeting, but I have never heard rally or alley rally before. I love that. I
What? You
mean,
haven't heard
we used
Ali
to
Rally?
we used to talk about milk crate motivational sessions.
I love that. Let me stand on my milk crate for a second, and then let me
No,
talk
it's
to
it's
y'all.
when everybody sits down and like
He
either
said, when it's
smokes a
sitting on
cigarette or eats. Right? It's
the
the
back
huddle,
dock.
but
Yes.
the
Yes.
alley rally milk crate motivational sessions, or alley rally. I love, like you were saying that, and I was like, I can't stop him right now, but I'm gonna have to go back to that. I absolutely love it.
Well, Simon, thank you so
I'm gonna
much.
use
I
that.
appreciate the invite, and hopefully we can do this again soon, man.
Yeah, I'm down for a 2.0. Absolutely.
Excellent. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Good luck with everything that's going on, and hope to talk to you soon. And to
Yes,
all
sir.
you out there, please tune in next week when you're going to hear me say, "What the hell?"